Welcome back, everybody, to the Hunting Dad podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Emery, as usual, and I have got a pretty cool dude here. I've dragged through a rainstorm, through hell and high water to get down to my wonderful studio here, Mr. Justin.
It's amazing.
It is.
Thanks for the invite, man.
He was just sitting there saying, he's like, "Look, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a little bit bigger." And I'm like, I get that a lot.
That's what she said, right?
That's what she said. Got a few bugs in here. Had the AC going to cool it off. I ain't got no Wi-Fi. Didn't factor that in when I built it. So, podcast from afar.
Hey,
lots
you're
of
doing it.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun. But yeah, we got Justin Simon on here today. And before we get into what we're going to talk about, I do want to mention and remind everybody, this is going to be probably the last podcast before the details drop on how to enter the giveaway. And as you guys know, I'm giving away a brand new water feather boat valued at over $1,200. You're going to also have the chance to win a Maverick saddle from Latitude Outdoors and a trail camera from Moltry. So technically you're entered to win 3 different times, but the grand prize, of course, is the boat. So be sure you're listening on details on how to get entered in that. I'm not going to give those away just yet because I don't want people jumping the gun. I want them all doing it at one time, but it's going to involve leaving a 5-star written review on Apple. Is going to be one of them, and a few other what you would say stipulations to get entered in that. But we're also going to start with a dad joke.
All right, let's go.
I think you've sent me one, haven't you?
I've sent you a few. I have a whole list of them here in my phone.
Oh my gosh! Well, I tell you what, I've been saving this one. It's a good one.
All right, let's go.
I asked my date to meet me at the gym. She never showed up, and that's how I knew we weren't going to work out.
All right.
Oh gosh, there's another one, and people, if you're listening, you're going to have to give me a second because I just found it, and it's pretty damn good.
I'm going to start sending you some more.
Here, let's see. Oh, this guy said on Facebook, he said, "When me and my girlfriend broke up, I stole her wheelchair. Look who come crawling back." I was like, that's awful. Terrible. Awesome. Justin, let's get into your background as far as like your family and kiddos, where you grew up and how you got into hunting. And also obviously tell everybody kind of where you're from because the whole basis of this podcast is going to have something to do with you and a U-Haul.
Yeah. Really excited for the next few weeks. And excited. So, yeah, man, I grew up originally in Maryland, in kind of like north central Maryland above Baltimore. And, I was hooked at a very young age. I pretty much got started at 12. My dad and I traveled about an hour and a half, 2 hours away to a farm he had, and there was great deer on it. And that's really where I cut my teeth. And long story short, he lost the farm right when I really got hooked into hunting, like 2 or 3 years in. And then he really lost interest. I found suburban hunting where I could actually work, come home, do some scouting. Even while I was working sometimes, I'd be working in these neighborhoods. Got into some giant deer there and got totally hooked on bow hunting because that was really one of my best ways to access some of these places because you couldn't gun hunt. So went full bore into that and then kind of got tired of the tit for tat in suburban hunting. There's a lot of competition and, sore feelings when you kill big deer. And I was like, you know what, man, the traffic and the amount of, BS, let's just call it that I was dealing with. I was like, you know what, I think I want to move. And we found Kentucky. I had a friend that lived in Somerset, and I wanted to move farther western Kentucky. So we picked Grayson County. Grayson, Breckenridge County around there. I saw it was a good pocket area of some good counties with some Boone and Crockett entries. And yeah, that was 5 years ago. And now we're about to move to southern Iowa. So
man, oh man,
yeah.
He's moving to a really good area because I was up there fooling around with the muzzleloader, and I don't know how deep your pockets are, but I know where a couple giants are.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was trying to maybe
Yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe we can talk about that later.
I'll throw you a bone. So you primarily grew up bow hunting?
I started off gun hunting, and then my dad was always he really got into bow hunting and trophy hunting right when he started teaching me. Mm-hmm. So I pretty much hunted solo. Like when he understood that I was okay, he was going deep with a climber, always mobile, and he was going in there in the swamps and stuff, and then I was left with like a shotgun or muzzleloader. That's really how I grew up, and then I dove full bore into bow hunting around when I was like 16 or 18.
There you go. Yep. So Hunting Dad Podcast. You are a father.
Yeah.
Tell me about these kiddos.
2 little girls. They're 10 and 6 now, and they keep me busy, man. It's I love them to death, and I've raised them in the outdoors. It's been a blast. From shed hunting to trout fishing, like any minute I can take my kids, we're always outside. I try to. So
they got a nice place to live right now.
They do. It's really sad. I'm not going to act like I'm not going to miss our place because I'm really going to be jonesing.
Yeah, well, let's throw a shameless little plug in there. Have you sold it yet?
We have not.
Oh my gosh, guys,
we're going. The amount of faith I'm putting in God on selling our house in the next 2 months is pretty amazing.
Yeah, so, it's a beautiful house. It's a sportsman paradise, and it's got turkey and deer on it already.
All the time. Yeah, tons.
And if not, I mean, there's plenty around and plenty of places to go hunt publicly and privately.
Yep.
So, but you said 10-year-old, so Keely's fixing to turn 11.
Yeah, our daughters are pretty much the same age. I know they played that one day. Well, let's get into how we met.
Yeah, so I actually had that wrote down towards the bottom.
Yeah.
And let's jump into this first. I'm going to go to my bottom bullet point is the social media side of hunting. Justin and me both are affiliated with multiple groups, and man, the negativity that can spew from people is unreal. I hate it. I'm not going to sit there and just take it from people. If people want to be negative with me, like I'm going to give it right back.
Yeah, amen.
But something that I noticed about you right off the bat is you're level-headed. You don't jump right into the click of things. You're your own independent person, and you think for yourself, and I admire that about you. And I think I posted in the Run and Gun Whitetail Hunters page years ago. I can't remember what year it was. It had to be close to COVID.
Yeah.
Because I'll get into that later. But I was heading to Maryland. I always like to reach out to people. I don't want your spot. I don't care nothing about your spot. Now, if you tell me that, hey, I just left Maryland. I had a 170-inch deer on camera. I'm not going to go back. This is where he was. I'm taking the pin. Like, I don't care. But I'm not going to beat my chest and be a social media hero like 9 out of 10 guys that come up here and found this deer, whatever. Like, I'm going to take the opportunity. And Justin, I think, reached out. He said, hey, I'm from Maryland. And I realized he lived in Kentucky at that point. And I can't remember exactly if you told me a couple places to go check out or what that might have been, but right off the bat, I was like, man, if somebody is willing to reach out to you and help you, like, at least get your feet wet, you don't exactly need your hand held, but just a little bump in the right direction, that's a big deal.
Yeah, man. No, and I've always been like that. I feel like you were worthy of, me giving you some of the information for it, and I was like, it ended up working out really well because you were staying about, like, 40 minutes from where I, cut my teeth and where I lived at. Yeah. So I think I gave you a few spots. I'm like, check this area, that area. But where you went was actually a pretty good area. It's a little bit tough because there's just so many more people, right?
Yeah.
It's a very population dense area. But there's some great public land on. I mean, that's when I first got started, it was before they legalized crossbows in the public in Maryland, and living so close to Pennsylvania, we had everybody from Pennsylvania that just, we had 3 buck tags in Maryland versus 1. Yeah. So
a cheap one.
Right.
Especially for a non-resident.
Right. So they flooded the public. Once crossbows were legalized, it kind of it changed the game. Not to dive down that rabbit hole, but it did.
So what you're saying is if we were transposing it back here, it would be if there was a WMA within 200 miles of Indiana, the Pennsylvania people would be the Indiana people, and we would be the Kentucky, right?
Yeah, basically.
That's why I do not feel any remorse when I come over here and murder their birds in the first 10 minutes of season.
Yeah, can't blame you. And I'll tell you what, man, from hunting Indiana this year, turkey hunting, I can't help but kick myself in the butt because I wish I'd have been doing it a lot sooner because it was like everywhere I went, I'm like, oh.
It's a lot of fun. There's quite a few birds. There's quite a few people, too.
There was.
There's no shortage of idiots over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that place that you ended up sending me, I'll never forget. I'm a really friendly person. Like, I'd walk up and give somebody a hug I didn't even know. It's just the way I am. And I was in the parking lot, and there was an older man that had pulled in right behind me, and I was literally just going to go ask the guy, like, where he was going. This is like during, like, the COVID ordeal. And, man, the closer you get to D.C. and Baltimore, them liberal places, oh, my God, people are jerks. And he screamed at me.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Just yelling at me and it's like, get the hell away from me, blah, blah, blah. And I hadn't even said anything to this guy. He pulls out like a 30-06. This is during bow season only. I'm like, oh, you want to play that game, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, I had Maryland DNR on the line like 5 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened, but
That's crazy, man.
screw that dude.
Some people are really cool. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
where I grew up in my county, it was a lot more country living, especially
Yeah.
when I grew up as a kid. And the longer my life went on, the more I saw more people moving into our area to
Oh,
escape the
God.
city. And that's when I was like, you know what? This isn't how I want to live. This isn't how I want to raise my kids.
Yep.
And to touch back, on the dad side of things, I wanted more for my kids. I wanted some better hunting for me, and I wanted some land. Let's talk about affordability of land. I mean, in Maryland, man, it's crazy, crazy expensive. So,
Dude.
out here it was a game changer. And all my friends from Maryland, when they came to our house at first time, they were like, "You paid how much for this? Like, you can't even buy a rancher for what we paid for our log cabin." So everybody looks at us like we're loaded, but it's like, no, we just did it. We did it the right way. We came with some cash from our house sale in Maryland, and we were able to finance our place. So,
Man, and I hate to be like this because, my grandparents raised me here in Kentucky and from the ground up, and I don't ever expect anything from them, but it's worked out now to where, like, I'm probably not going to end up with their house. My sister is, and it's looking like I'm going to end up, with my grandmother's property in Frederick, Maryland.
I got you.
And my boys asked me, when are we going to, because I don't like taking them on public very much during gun seasons and things like that. I'm like, when are we going to have somewhere to go private? It's like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm as nice as it gets. I'm honest. I knock on doors, and for some reason, I just don't have that face about me or enough money in my pocket. I was like, as sad as this is, Debbie, if you're listening to me, Grandma Debbie, can you hear this? I don't mean anything by this, but I told them boys, it's like, we ain't going to have nowhere. And we're probably not moving from this house until something happens to Grandma Debbie because she has left us that house up there to sell.
Yeah.
And she's told me, I hope everybody can hear that thunder. My gosh. She's told me when I die, you sell this place up here.
I got you.
And it's an hour from Baltimore.
Oh, man.
And it's a nothing. It's not an over-the-top house. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's got a basement, and it sits on an acre.
Yeah.
Yeah. The taxable amount right now is saying that it's worth close to $375,000
Easily. And the thing is, when you put it on the market, if it's decent, I mean, it'll sell in a week.
Well, she told me, she's like, if you sell it to a foreigner, I'll kill you. I will haunt you. That's her exact words.
I'm not sure how that'll work out, but good luck with that.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I love it up there. It's a beautiful little house, and I do like the people in that area.
Yeah,
I love the food.
Yeah, Frederick is a pretty cool little area.
Yeah.
Not to name drop it, but
No, well,
yeah, too late now. Sorry.
Yeah. So Justin's house is for sale.
Yeah, come by it.
Yeah,
holler at me.
Come by that, and here in probably 10 years, something like that, holler at me. I'll have a place to sell up there myself. Yeah. But so yeah, like I was saying, the social media side of things, good and bad. That's what I admire about you. You're not a negative dude. You're always willing to help, and I do appreciate that. But I hate the way that hunting is going now. Is everybody is on the other side of a screen typing away with no repercussions.
There's that, and I think the other side of things we can talk about is the brands and the clicks on each side of the brand. Where I just don't see it that way. It's like, all right, who are you as a person, and what are you about? And it's like, if you're a decent person, we can get along. I get along with just about anybody. Mm-hmm. If I don't get along with you, there's probably a reason,
Right.
And I just never understood that, man. I mean, we all love hunting. For the most part, I'd say 9 out of 10 guys, are genuine good dudes. There's just so much, little back talk here and there, but I just don't really care for all that stuff. And anytime I kind of see that, it kind of just gives me a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. It gives people a false sense of accomplishment. I think everybody thinks they're on a pedestal. And half the time, people aren't even killing the deer the right way.
You're right. It's the ego. So we can just get it.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And I distance myself from people like that so quickly. It's not funny. Yeah. And there's even been people that I consider were good friends for the longest time that start to show their butt, and I'm like, man, I just don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I like to keep to myself. I'm getting further and further away from people. I enjoy working with the companies that I do, and I've said this on multiple podcasts right now. The minute that these companies start pulling that sketchy, half-naked, BS crap with women and
Yeah.
weird marketing strategies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
and that's just the way it is. So you grew up in Maryland, you've moved to Kentucky, and now you're going to Iowa.
Really excited. Really excited.
I'm not going to name drop where he's moving to,
Yeah.
but like I said, I went out there and I was hunting not far from it. And are you good? Are you? What do you do for work?
So really cool. I actually landed a nice job
No, okay.
out there, and that's part of why we're able to move before we're selling our house.
Okay.
Which is very crazy. I am crazy. Yeah. But you know what? It's worth it, man. And I feel like one of my biggest things that, I don't know, if you listen to my podcast at all, you know, I'm huge on motivational quotes. But the one thing that's resonated with me my entire life is, you know, if you always do what you've always done, you will always have what you will always have what you've always got.
Gotcha.
Know? So, and I've totally butchered that, but it's the truth.
Everybody got it.
Yeah, yeah. But that's part of, like, I moved out here to chase big deer, man. And I scout and hunt my tail off every year. And it is so hard to find the caliber of deer that I'm looking for on a consistent basis, you know. And then with the way the seasons fall here with the rifle and everything, like, I'm all for, I just love bow hunting. That's just my thing.
Right.
So for me, it was like, I want to do more Western hunting, number one. Number two, I want to chase bigger deer and not have to drive so far to go chase them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then the family side of things, like, I think there's a better future for my kids living there than where we're at here. And that's the number one thing is family to me. So
that's kind of what I was getting at, was like, what was the motivational drive behind moving from Maryland to Kentucky? And you kind of touched on that. And it's like, there's a lot of guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that leave where they're at and they go to Iowa. There's one reason only.
Yeah.
It's the bigger deer.
Right.
And it might seem crazy to people to do something like that, but if you're that passionate about killing them big deer, then, I mean, what is it? I mean, you're getting into better people, obviously. Yeah. I feel like the people in Iowa, you know, a red state, honest to God, probably better people, better to raise your kids, probably a lower cost of living.
More opportunity for guys like ourselves too.
Exactly.
You know, there's more stuff in the hunting industry there. For me, like, I think there's a lot more promise for my kids. We live in an area that's relatively poor. You know, they would either, and I don't want them to move away like I did, you know what I mean, to my family. I mean, we have a different family situation, and that's another reason why we moved. But yeah, man, like, I think it's important to think about your family, number one, because, like, you can be happy, but are they going to be happy? There's really nothing to do where we live at. So having more activities for my kids to do, they're happier. Dad can go do his stuff. The wife's going to be happier. You know, you live in a good area. I think around here is a great area, and we did contemplate on moving here, but we said, hey, heck with it. If we're going to sell the place, she wanted to move way out west, and we didn't want to deal with the winters, if I'm going to be honest with you. So
well,
we settled.
I'll tell you what, the winter that I spent in Iowa for them 4 or 5 days, holy crap.
Yeah.
I hope you're ready for that.
Oh, yeah.
That was rough. And everybody was telling me, you know, be prepared, be prepared. Jacob Myers is telling me, don't schedule a time to go. You wait and watch the weather, and when it hits this mark, that's when the big deer are going to be on their feet after a bow season, after 2 shotgun seasons, and boom, he was right.
Yeah.
Wearing a Sitka incinerator set from a good buddy named Kyle Wisner of mine. That actually, Tanya, a good friend of mine that I met that lived over towards your area, she met him. He's from Oklahoma. Okay. And they moved here, there, and everywhere, and they moved out to Oklahoma. But he sent me that Sitka incinerator set last year. Have you ever priced it?
It's like over $1,000. Right?
It's like $1,200.
Yeah.
Like $600 for a jacket, $600 for a pair of bibs. And I get it. I hear you guys. It's stupid, but 90% of people are getting 40% off of it anyways. That is the whole thing behind that industry with that clothing, is like most of the guys that are getting. I can't say if I am or not, but let's draw a line here.
Yeah, I can see the worth if you lived out there and you did a lot of late season hunting.
Yeah.
But I can't see it. I can't justify spending that living here.
No,
you know,
it doesn't get cold enough.
No.
When you're out there and it's negative 15 and negative 20 feel like temperatures, that's the most miserable cold I've ever felt in my life. And that ain't the point of being in it. It's the walk in.
Yeah.
You have to prepare yourself to walk in and not sweat too much,
right,
and then pack it in. And it's not a small suit by any means. It's big and bulky.
Big.
I was putting it on a pack frame along with a bog death grip. And I was walking a mile and a half to get to the field that I was wanting to hunt from the road, because you had to hunt the deer where they were not seen from the road. And it was worth, it had me thinking, it's like, if I'm going to keep going out here and doing this, I've got to buy a set.
Yeah. Honestly, I hunted -10 in the Osseo late season set, and I wore a base layer under it, and I did not get cold a single time. The only thing that got cold was my fingers and my face, and that was it.
I'm going to have to look into it, because they actually just dropped their brand new camo pattern today.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to look at it too close, but when I watched the video, I was like, I haven't looked at Osseo enough closely to be like,
is it any different?
Is it different?
Yeah. So they based this new one off of like coyote, mountain lion, like that was their principle behind this setup, and then they wanted it more for guys hunting out west.
Good.
And if you hunted on the ground in CRP, it blends in amazing. So.
Yep. I think Annie Mae had posted a picture with some kind of sheep or goat or something like that.
All-dad or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not real good with all that stuff.
Yeah, man, that dude's so
me.
cool. I gotta say, for him, he's one of my favorite people I've met, in the industry. He's just so down to earth.
He really is.
He is a stud too. I hope I look like him when I'm his age.
Well, I know I won't. That's one of the things I told him. Is like we were going over this, that, and everything else. I was like, Andy, I want to say 3 things. He was talking about his little girl being, 16, 17, whatever years old, and she's got a boyfriend and her friends. I was like, personally, I'd be terrified to be your daughter's boyfriend. Yeah. I would not want to be in that situation. Yeah. Just knowing that you could kill me with your left hand at any moment.
He's like a gentle giant, man. I wouldn't want to get on his bad side, but man, I feel like it'd take a lot to do that.
All right, let's swap over a little bit here. We know a little bit about you. We know where you're at on moving and whatnot, and you're transitioning to your new home, your new hunting area. How do you like to hunt? What is your style of hunting that you glue to, that you like? What's your thing, so to speak?
I mean, just pretty much the same thing you're doing, man. I like to scout. I like to e-scout, and then I like to put boots on the ground, and I like to scout my way in and set up, and then I just adjust from there. I'm a huge shed hunter. I've covered way more ground shed hunting than I have actually hunting. So I have a really good understanding of bedding areas, and obviously food to bed transitions, and that's kind of my thing. I really try to observe, adjust, and kill. I run cameras too, but if I'm going to be honest with you, out in Iowa, I think I'm going to do a lot more just e-scouting and then jumping in there and diving in and hunting and see how things go, or maybe more glassing because it's so much more open. If I can do something like that.
Yeah, that was actually key to my, I don't want to call it success, because I've said this once, I've said it 100 times. I was fortunate enough to kill 6 bucks last year. A lot of these deer people aren't picking their bow or gun up for.
Yeah.
But I do, because I love killing deer.
Yeah.
But just getting out there and visually setting up to where I may not kill the deer tonight, but I'll have a chance the next night.
Exactly.
It's a different style out there, and glass is a huge ordeal. Whereas here, there's been hunts where I won't even pack binoculars in, because there's no point. I'm bow hunting. If my heart starts getting pumped, I'm going to shoot the deer. You know what I mean. My longest shot sometimes is 30, 35 yards, 40 yards. It's I don't carry a lot of glass, but out in places like that is an absolute must.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be easier to hunt. And I could be wrong in saying that, but it's just way more pinch points, and there's way less places for deer to hide than there are here. I mean, around here where we hunt, man, it's just open. I mean, there's so many wood lots, and it's people talk about, oh, you got to go find him in his bed. Dude, that deer beds in 100 different bedding areas. I mean, unless I see him here one day and he's going to a bean field or something, very rarely have I had success like that. Just oh, he's bedded here on this wind, I'm going to go. And it's happened a couple times. I mean, my good friend Logan, we had his success. That was an observation sit a week before we killed his deer, went in there one day and killed it.
Nice.
But
it's definitely different. Everything you think
yeah, around
here, they just change it up on you the last second.
Yeah, anytime I feel like I'm doing good, they'll humble me right away.
So I hate to keep harping on this Iowa hunt, but I slightly want to punch you right now. I'm jealous that you get to go out there and not only you hunt it every year, but you get to hunt it with a bow and a gun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm so stoked for muzzleloader too.
You should be.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, talking about humbling you, like the night that I've spotted those deer, I think I'd filmed 4 deer probably over the 140 mark, including the one that I ended up taking a shot at the next night, which I was a little pumped up. He may not have been as big as I thought. I originally thought this deer was probably close to 180 inches.
Yeah.
You just have to see the deer in person, though. It's like everybody's like, well, I'm showing them a picture, and it's like, I don't know about that. And it's like, well, it's a 300-pound deer.
Yeah.
On the foot.
Yeah.
And it's like
they're so deceiving.
When he's 800 yards across the field and you can make out multiple tines with your naked eye, it's a big-ass deer.
Yeah, no doubt.
So those 5 deer are in the field along with like 15, 16 does. The next night, the big one is the only deer that shows up.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I set up to kill one of the smaller ones because I was not expecting to get a shot at that deer. Had they come out, 120, 150-yard pop shot, dead deer, no problem.
Yeah.
He stayed out there about 250.
Did you try to stalk him or what?
No.
No.
No. He was on pins and needles, dude.
Yeah.
He come out to that cornfield and just, like, a matter of fact, I kept turning around and looking and was like, is somebody walking around behind me like a mile across the field or something? Because he has something pegged.
Really?
I panicked. I was pressured by my wife to get home. I'd pushed her all season long, and I knew enough was enough. And after the smoke cleared, no blood, no dead deer.
Yeah.
That's just
long ride home.
Silence. 8 hours of silence. No talking, no radio, just hateful thoughts of myself.
Oh, poor guy.
I think the deer was probably. I think he would touch 170.
I was gonna say, there's no doubt he was a booner, dude, and he might surprise you too. You never know. The mass on those deer out there is just insane.
Reese Johnson, if you're listening to this, I've already told you where that deer is, and that sucker drew that unit tag this year. Go make Daddy happy. Go make me proud. Oh gosh, what do you think? Moving from state to state, the difference in the deer is, Maryland to Kentucky. You've hunted Iowa before, right?
No.
No, not yet. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if I can find a deer like that in like 3 days, you ain't going to have no problem.
I didn't think so. Yeah. I think from talking to friends that I do have out there, the biggest problem is going to be figuring out what deer I want to chase. And that was the issue when I moved here to Kentucky. I completely kicked myself in the butt all the time because, God, I was spoiled the first year I moved here, man. I mean, I had like a mid-50s 8 at my house.
Yep.
I had a 160s that came through. Like, I would have killed him for sure, but here I am. It's opening day. I got this deer dead to rights pretty much. He's just coming through this little pinch. And, man, I never went after him because I'm like, oh, well, it's Kentucky. I'm going to be chasing booners, I don't know if I want to kill a 150. I want to kill like something. Yeah, and then I was a complete idiot. But yeah, it is what it is, man. I think deer are deer, right? Everywhere you go. I do believe Kentucky. It is a hard state to consistently kill a big deer in. It really is.
The amount of hunting pressure you got to deal with in the season, and the way the seasons lay out.
The way they lay out, the baiting.
God.
I'm not going to dive into that, but as for me, I would say when I first moved here, it was probably like 30% private, 70% public. And that shifted over the years. But the more I've gotten into private land hunting, the harder it's gotten to, I don't really want to bait deer, and I'm not going to act like I haven't put corn out to,
get some pictures,
put some pictures,
inventory. Yeah.
But, man, it's a challenge. Like, these deer, I've had deer that I should have killed in early season that I just kind of let go because I wanted something bigger, and that's just me being picky. I've been very blessed since I've been here. I've killed 2 160 class deer, and that's kind of I want to take something in the 150 range. It's kind of my goal.
That's a great goal. That's a big deer to kill in Kentucky.
Yeah,
and before you listen to somebody say, "Well, I've got this or that many of these running around on my farm," it's like, guess what? We ain't hunting your damn farm.
Right.
And public is tough, dude. And I run into so many issues on mine. People baiting where they ain't supposed to. People with no regard for other people's like space. I'm not saying like I have a spot. I'm just saying like if you know somebody's there, get out of there. Leave them alone. Let them hunt that day. And you've got 16-year-olds running around from September 15th to January with a crossbow.
Yeah, or a rifle. I mean, I've had guys with rifles come in while I'm bow hunting on public, and it's like, I don't know. I think our fishing game here needs to really step their game up. I think
they need their ass whooped.
They've got a lot to work on between poaching and people doing that. Yeah, you could do a whole podcast on that, but But no, man, I mean, that's one thing I'm really looking forward to is having more structure behind. Like, that's obviously why Iowa's so magical, right? Like, the way the season's laid out, no baiting. Their fishing game is way more strict, I imagine, which I'm all for. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah, I like the idea of that, and I wish it was the same way here. And you talk about these deer in Iowa, like you talk about like nobody out there even bats their eye at 150.
yeah, it's crazy.
Like they don't care. A 160 maybe. A 170-inch deer is officially a deer worth talking about and chasing. And then if you see 2 or 3 200-inch deer across the road a year, it's pretty average. I feel like.
Yeah. That's what I've been told. It's like, hey, we can go out in the summer and see 15 to 18 150s.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't have an inrush of people in Kentucky like from the very first weekend in September.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, everybody's here. Everybody's here, and then you got
You think about how many big deer get knocked out in the first week of season over corn.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Like and then we've got our rifle that comes in early November. And if you haven't killed, I've learned since I've lived here, like the first week of November, it's almost like they go in a underground cave or something, and then they just come out of nowhere, like November 5th to 7th. It's just like light switch event. And then you got those 3 days to hunt or whatever, and then if rifle comes in November 9th, well, bam, there they all go because everybody's shooting them from far away, or the does are coming to corn piles that have been there for a month that nobody's hunted, and not to keep harping on that, but
what I'm saying, like Iowa's got these world class animals year in and year out. After EHD, after CWD, which is the biggest hoax of all time, if you ask me, and they've got a bow season that comes in October 1st. Every single year, it's no different. That's the day it comes in. And you can hunt with a bow all the way up to the first shotgun. I think you have to stop hunting. But they have 2 different shotgun seasons out there. 10 days, I think, 10 or 12 days, excuse me, I could be wrong, worth of shotgun hunting, muzzleloader hunting, whatever. You can hunt with the muzzleloader. But it's not like your traditional guys like here. Like there's a lot of people that do set up in a stand or saddle, a blind, whatever it may be, and wait on these deer to come through and shoot them. But you're hunting December. You're not shooting your damn deer with a high-powered rifle from November 15th to the 30th, where they're running just rampant. You're having to hunt these deer in December, so they're pushing these deer around. So not only are they getting a chance to do their thing, they're not getting killed as much with the bow. You got 2 shotgun seasons and then a late muzzleloader. Kentucky, bow from the time it opens in September to Martin Luther King Day, followed by at some point in there you're going to have youth gun, you're going to have early muzzleloader. You're going to have rifle in some counties. I don't know exactly how long it lasts. It differs from county to county.
Yeah.
Then a late muzzleloader. And then, like I said, you can hunt that entire time with some sort of weapon advantage almost. From like September 6th or 5th, whatever it comes in this year, to the 15th. Like that's the only days you can't use a crossbow.
Yeah.
Like you have got like a really good advantage on killing these deer. And I'm not just completely knocking people that want to hunt with a crossbow. I'm just saying is like if you want to hunt over a damn.
We're just talking about like the population of mature deer that are getting killed.
Yes,
really is what it is.
And it is wild because there is less woodlots out in Iowa and stuff like that. Deer have a lot of places to hide here, and they are still repopulating and still becoming of that age structure. And it's that dirt.
Yeah,
dude. The first time we ever went to Kansas turkey
black.
hunting. Yeah, we was like, we can drive down this road. Wrong. It had rained like 2 days before. We sunk in that crap. It was awful. That black dirt, I don't know what it does to them deer, but it's good for them. If you're looking to add a few new trail cameras to your arsenal this fall, look no further than Moltry Products. Moltry is one of the biggest and most trusted trail camera companies in the outdoor industry, and they have taken my scouting to a new level. The new Edge 2 and Edge 2 Pro cameras utilize next-level AI technology like Smart Capture to do things such as trigger pictures on only bucks, or only deer in general if you choose so, making false triggers on the wind or annoying raccoons over a bait pile a thing of the past. Another thing I love being a public land hunter is that the new cameras do not utilize SD cards, meaning nobody can steal your card and nobody can check your pictures. Not to mention, your old cell camera is giving you all those fits over faulty cards or needing formatted when you're miles or even states away. So if you're looking to up your scouting game this fall, check out these affordable, reliable, and easy to set up Edge Series cameras. You guys can check these out at Instagram, Facebook, and of course, MoltryProducts.com. Hey guys, Jacob here with the Hunt Dad Podcast. If you guys have followed my YouTube, DO3 Outdoors, for any amount of time, you know that I'm a huge fan of companies that build a great product that even the blue-collar guys like me can afford. For years, I would skimp out on optics on my hunts because of that intimidating price tag, or knowing that what I could actually afford at a young age was going to be absolute junk. Luckily, over the last few years, I've discovered Hawk Optics. Hawk makes a great line of glass, scopes, and accessories that are easy on the wallet but perform at a high-end level. One thing I really love about Hawk is their unmatched customer service. Real people, fast answers, and a company that actually stands behind what it sells. And let's not forget, with Hawk's lifetime no-fault warranty, you are covered for life on your gear. Since using Hawk Optics, my 4 personal favorite pieces so far is the 10x42 monocular, the Nature Trek spotting scope, the Frontier ED 8x42 binos, and of course the Endurance rangefinder. If you guys are interested about any scopes, pieces of glass, or accessories, be sure and go check out hawkoptics.com. That's HAWKE optics.com. That is for sure. Do you see yourself ever moving again?
No, this is going to be the final straw for me. Our real plan is to kind of build our dream home. We found 20 acres of absolute paradise, dude. The biggest. It was honestly like, I'd pray we can still get it. It's we were under contract for about 6 months on it, and we lost it. It is back on the market, but that's our plan. We want to try to buy a little bit of land and build. Obviously, I think you can relate to this too. It's like we're kind of getting to that point in our hunting career where it's like, all right, I don't think I'm going to mount this one.
Yep.
I need some more room to put some mounts. I shot that elk. I never would have planned on getting an elk mount. I shot a great elk, and
it wasn't a great elk. It was a big elk.
That was amazing, and that really bit the bug there too. I really want to do more of that. That changed my life. So yeah, I mean that's really the plan. That and then like we said, happy wife, like to jive back into the family. Mm-hmm. That's something she's always wanted. Our house now, in my opinion, is a dream home. I love it. It really is. But
it's in just a weird area.
It is.
There's not a big town close. Like I'm not going to name drop exactly where you're moving to. Not that it really matters, because if a non-resident wants to go hunt there, it's going to take you a while.
Right.
But like y'all are going to be within like 30, 45 minutes of a really big town. Yeah. You can go shopping. You can take the kids to go do something. There's probably amusement parks.
Tons of stuff. Lake nearby.
Yeah, lots of lakes out there.
Yeah, way more stuff for the family, and that's really me and my wife are really open with each other, and we talked about that, and like that's the one thing I like. It was Father's Day weekend this weekend. Mm-hmm. We got to drive an hour to go to anywhere, and I was like, it's so hot out. I'm like, whatever. We're just gonna hang out, and it's sad. There's just nothing to do.
Yep.
Sports. We got to go drive a half hour to take the kids to go do sports. It just is what it is. If you didn't, and everybody's like, why would you move here? And I was like, well, I actually wanted to start a hunting guide business, like an outfit, when I moved here originally.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was actually my main focus when I moved out here, and I guided for the first year. And man, I've found out real quick, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I had guys that I'd put there were great deer that I could have killed, and I put other guys on them.
I know what you mean.
And it's like, well, why did you go out and do this? Well, I just wanted to I wanted to do this, or I wanted to do that. It's like, dude, I've done everything that you possibly can imagine, and that deer's coming in here, and then you go and walk right where he's coming through. And of course, the deer just bolted out of there, cut his ground scent. I'm like, all right, so how do you handle, it was a lot, and I could never get enough land. And I told Amanda, I'm like, you know what? I think enough's enough. Like, I don't want to do this. It was stressful on her and the kids, and I'm like, I just didn't feel right doing it anymore. So
yeah, I've had multiple guests on, and we talk about family. We especially talk about our wives and what we do to get away and stuff like that. It's like that's something people don't really think about, is the relativity of where you live and what they have to do, because women don't have hobbies like men do.
No.
And if they do, you're not even having this conversation, because they're content. They don't even care if you go do your thing most of the time. Yeah. But ones like my wife doesn't have a lot of hobbies. She likes to go shop, and that's it. Sure, she's got places to go shop around here, but do we have a lot of help to watch the kids? Not really.
Yeah.
My grandmother's up there in age. Her parents work full time still. My mom is long gone, and my dad lives an hour away. It's like
Yeah.
doesn't exactly work out real well.
We have no one here. I have no family here. We moved here without knowing a soul. And it was actually a really good proving ground to say, hey, we can do this again. What's to say? I mean, we did it once. Why can't we do it again?
I like that.
You know, but you're absolutely right, man. I think it's really important to maybe try to find a cool hobby that, you know, you can give your wife to go, hey, honey, you go enjoy your time. I'll watch the kids. I mean, I would love that, but my wife's the same way, man. She just doesn't have, I mean, obviously their kids are just getting into pickleball, and I'm like, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that over and over again, and I'm like, yeah, well, hey.
Dude, I've been pushing and pushing and pushing her. I am so proud of her, by the way. She has lost like 32 pounds. She's never looked bad. I've never thought one time that she's looked bad, but she's lost 30 pounds. She loves to work out.
That's awesome.
She fasts every single day. So that's kind of her thing. And each day, I mean, each day that it's not pissing and pouring like it is right now, she's like, I think me and Mom are going to go for a walk. Go.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
that does wonders, man, just getting out and going.
There's a freaking page somewhere in this little notebook that I've wrote. Look at this. If you guys are watching on YouTube, check this crap out. You see that right there? That's called organization and planning. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states that I'm putting out there that I could possibly go hunt. Now, 3 of them are easy.
Yeah.
Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana. I put in for a Nebraska tag, which I will draw that.
Yeah.
I got my Iowa tag again this year.
Man.
And I've juggled Missouri and Illinois.
I had a lot of fun in Missouri last year. I learned a lot, really threw myself out of my comfort zone, and I got on a good buck at the end of the trip. He was on a hot tail, and if I would have just went with my gut and I would have went over and sat on the edge of this like pond, I'd have killed him. But I sat over this really good scrape, and man, he came in there. Have you got to hear like one of them big Midwestern deer grunt yet? Yeah,
It's a scream almost.
He just came in, and I was like, "That is a man." Like, I mean, he was like, "Ruh." I'm like, I grunted back at him. He's like, "Ruh," like growled at me. I'm like, "Phew."
If you never heard it, it will throw you off.
Yeah.
Like, I actually heard it for the first time. I heard it multiple times as a younger kid. I used to have some really, really, really good property to hunt to where if I had the knowledge and I wasn't a chicken shit and scared of the dark back in the day when I was real
really well.
My wall would look a lot better right now. But, yeah, it throw you off. It's kind of spooky almost. And there's no doubt, like, you just hear like a little tending grunt coming through the woods. Probably going to turn around. Here comes a little forkhorn, whatever. He's screwed if he's in Tennessee with me. But when you hear that big deer, let that out.
Oh, yeah.
It's very aggressive, and you almost always got a really big deer on your hands.
Yeah. Missouri public is amazing, man. I was blown away. I was like, it looks like manicured private.
Oh, good.
So.
Well, we're going to have another conversation here later.
Yeah.
I've been, like I said, I'm tossing around Illinois. I'm tossing around Missouri, one of the two. Then,
Missouri
of course,
was more affordable. I was going to go hunt Illinois last year, and I ended up changing my mind last second, and we went to Missouri.
I can tell you the price of Missouri right now. It's $288 for either a bow tag or a gun tag.
Yeah. What's Illinois?
$480 at least.
Yeah.
And that depends on if you buy like a 5-day or all year.
Heck, that's gas station food for the week, baby.
Dude. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
on.
That's like 2 or 3 nights stay in a hotel somewhere.
Right.
And then, of course, going to Texas last year, that is on the docket. Like, I've got to win a competition like that we have through the field team to make that trip again. But, I mean, I hope I do well, and I've got a lot of hope that I can go back and do that because that was the funnest hunt of my.
Really?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Chasing deer. And I know we're kind of bouncing around all over the place on this podcast, but
sorry, man.
It's all
ADD in here.
Oh, dude, this room is full of it right now. It's also full of hot air. I know you're.
You see me?
Yeah, you're glistening. Yeah, I got an AC unit in the window, and we can't have it on because it interrupts the audio. And man, if there's anything I've learned, audio is everything. But Texas last year was so neat. It was my first guided hunt, and I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be an easy hunt. So flying out with a gun was kind of nerve-wracking. I plan on doing a bunch of like post-hunt recaps and things like that, and I'll get into details on how to do that when that comes to pass. But getting out there and standing there the first like couple minutes of light coming up in Texas, and like, I'm a damn cowboy.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Was it pretty?
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's so open, but it's also so thick at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We seen a buck like 800 yards away.
Really?
He was bigger than the one I killed.
Yeah.
And My God goes, watch this. He goes, this deer will be standing at 100 yards in 5 minutes. He hit the antlers together, and that deer looked up, and he just kept going. He is coming. I'm like, that deer ain't coming. 5 minutes later, there he is, standing right there. They get in them draws. They get in that real thick stuff. They get in the ditches, and they just pop out. It's like turkey hunting deer.
Really?
It's freaking awesome.
Oh, heck yeah.
And,
That's
you
cool.
know, everybody thinks Texas is like box blinds and feeders, and they did have those things out there on that outfitter for older guys. If they bring their dad or something with them or kids, that's different. Johnny, the guy that runs that operation, was like, we like to hunt deer.
So you were like ground
hunting.
That's cool.
Walking around with a bog death grip.
Yeah, I would like that.
You could set up and you know, do calling sequences. You weren't like just walking around till you spotted one. You were trying to call one out, get to a vantage point. And it's not like your typical Texas, like super flat as far as you can see. Like it had rolling hills and stuff like that. Not really known for really big deer. I think the biggest deer on that 70-something thousand acres ever killed out there was like a 168.
Yeah. Well, you got to think, man. I think they got thinner racks too, right? They don't have the mass like you know some of our deer do.
The one I killed is up there somewhere. He broke off half a side, but had he not, he'd been a 132-inch deer. I'm tickled to death at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, free deer.
My deer this year was a 130, man, and I was stoked. And everybody's like, well, I mean, do you feel like you should have held out? I'm like, heck no, dude. I changed my whole tactics after all my bucks got killed this year, and I'm like, put a 5-year-old in front of me, and that's it. Or even a 4, I didn't care.
Yeah. You know, places like Iowa where you can kind of set that standard and know that you'll probably have a chance at something like that if you work hard enough. And I know you will work hard enough. You will put your time in, and it'll be like taking candy from a kid.
We'll see. But, hey, proof's in the pudding, man. We'll see. I'm really excited. I think I'm moving out there at the perfect time, right around like, you know, mid-July. Mm-hmm. It's going to be really weird. I've been a free bird for the past 5 years, owning my own company. I've had way more time in the woods than I've ever had my entire life. So
maybe it'll even out, you know, when you got more time and whatnot, and not such a premier state. You still have the opportunity to get on bigger deer. Yeah. And then you go to a place like that. Shouldn't be too bad, but man, you got to roll with the punches of what season gives you.
Right.
You know, last year was my best year that I ever had. Yeah. I was really tickled with that. I ended on a really sour note, which kind of tainted the entire thing. My wife's like, "What are you mad about?"
It's deer hunting, man.
I'm like,
you know,
it's like leading 199 laps at the Daytona 500, and then some jackass spins you.
Yeah.
On turn 4 coming out, and it's like.
Well, you said it. You know, that's part of why you're still married, because you're putting your wife's thoughts ahead of things. Mm-hmm. Had you not had that situation, you probably just stayed out there for another couple of days. Maybe you had another opportunity. But you know what? Like, you got to think about it, man. Like, you're a young guy. You'll get back out there.
That's right.
You know,
the guy I was actually sharing camp with, which, by the way, Zach Ream, if you're listening, I owe you $50 for the Airbnb. I just remembered that. I never have paid him for that. I just slept out there for a night or two. I forgot totally to pay him. But me and 3 guys actually hunted that area the night that I got on that deer, or the night before. And I told him I'd seen a big deer. I didn't know how to say, like, I thought I'd seen something of that caliber.
Yeah, were you like hush-hush about it a little bit?
Yeah, well, hush-hush, and I don't want to seem like a dumbass if the thing ends up being a lot smaller.
Yeah.
I knew he wasn't small.
Right.
But I went hunting the next day, took the shot and missed, and I told Zach, I was like, look, this is a spot he's come out 2 nights in a row, and he has walked this tree line that way both times. The wind is going to be perfect for you tomorrow. I'd sit right here.
Yeah.
And he texted me the next night. I was just waiting for a text, be like, he's dead.
Yeah.
I was going to be happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, at least score him so I know what he was.
Right.
He texted me and he goes, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, what? And he goes, he's out in the field right now. I was like, how far? And he goes, well, he's 400 yards from me, and he's 10 yards from the ground blind you built yesterday.
Oh, my God.
Excuse me, I'm going to go beat up my wife.
Yeah. Dude.
I'm
That's
just
crazy, man.
I didn't even tell her because I don't like making her feel bad.
You should feel good about that, though.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
You got to take your wins and your losses. You don't always kill something to win something. I mean, I've let a lot of good deer. I remember you hounding me for that 1.8 that I let go, and you're like, brother, this is not Iowa. Like, you were like, what are you doing?
Yep.
And you know what? It was my tag. I had a deer in mind that I'd seen 2 days prior that was a giant, and
Those are bad. Those are bad for you.
It was
You don't wanna see
bad
'em.
for me. Yeah, I didn't end up killing a buck that year here in Kentucky. I wounded a good one in Indiana. That was the year I killed my elk, so it was a success. But that was one of them years that I felt successful, even though I hadn't punched a tag. You know.
Hey guys, let's talk about gear, and not just any gear, great gear. Latitude Outdoors has redefined the game with their lightweight mobile hunting solutions over the last few years. Designed by passionate hunters, their mobile hunting gear is all about stripping away the bulk so you can explore deeper, trek further, and stay agile in the woods. Every piece is crafted to allow you to move quickly when needed. Latitude Outdoors has actually made me a more efficient hunter with some of their gear, ranging all the way from their 19-ounce Carbon SS climbing sticks to the OG X-Wing platform. And my new personal favorite, the Maverick single panel saddle. This thing is super minimal. You can fold it up to where it doesn't even feel like it's on your back. This thing was a workhorse for me last year. This thing comes in at a great price point. So if you guys are interested, please be sure check out their full range of hunting gear over at latitudeoutdoors.com. You can find their climbing sticks, platforms, saddles, anything else you could possibly think of to get you in the woods and become a more efficient mobile hunter. Be sure to check those out at latitudeoutdoors.com, built for the mobile hunter. Hey guys, Jacob here with the Hunting Dad Podcast. I want to take just a few moments and talk to you guys about one of my favorite partners that I have. And that is Waterfeather Boats. If you guys have followed my YouTube for long enough, you know that I'm a huge advocate for water access. It makes getting in close to those roosted birds extremely easy, and those hard to reach places where all the big bucks live a breeze. Not to mention that Waterfeather is a veteran-owned company proudly designed and manufactured right here in the U.S. in southern Indiana. Their flagship boat was built to handle up to 320 pounds payload with a cockpit that comfortably fits an adult and plenty of gear. Weighing just 58 pounds and right at 9 feet, it's maneuverable and easy to carry, yet tough enough to withstand any environment, making it perfect for hunters and anglers just like you and me. It's even rated up to a 2-horsepower motor and comes with a built-in platform, often used as a dog stand or extra gear storage. Lastly, Waterfeather has just introduced a brand new custom blonde in mossy oak, making it ideal for duck hunters. There are plenty of ways to get on the water, but this one stands out as the best for me. Born and bred in the USA, this is the Waterfeather. Go farther, go feather. Yep, it's those years. I hate to sound cliche, and all these podcasts are the same as far as some of that crap that they spew out, but dude, them tough years are literally what make you a better hunter.
Oh yeah.
Period.
No, you come back pissed.
Like that's what happened. Like
Yeah.
in 2023, I hunted all year long. I missed the deer that I've been trying to kill for a few years because of him coming in so fast and not adjusting my slider pin, which screw a single pin at this moment. And ended up shooting like a below average deer. Probably it was about 125-inch deer or something like that with a broke G3. So he wasn't a bad deer. Shot him with a muzzleloader late season with my good buddy Stephen Fuller. Fun hunt. Love it. Yeah. It was a great time.
Yeah.
But I got my butt kicked that year. And then the following year, I had a banger year.
Right.
So I seem to follow this pattern of 2 good years, bad year. 2 good years, bad year.
I think
it's in my head. It gets a little. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Bull crap. Get kicked right in the nuts.
Yeah.
It never fails. Never fails.
Got to stay on your toes, man.
So, you alluded earlier. It's like you hunted 70%, public when you got here, 30% private, or it could have been backwards. It's like, let's be honest for everybody. What do you see as a difference in public versus private land deer?
It depends, because honestly, the easiest deer I've ever killed in Kentucky was on public land. And that was purely because he was unpressured. Mm-hmm. Just finding deer that aren't pressured, I mean, it is what it is. I think some of the private I hunt is way more pressured than some of the public that I hunt. But you also just don't have the caliber of the deer in a lot of the public that I hunt. It doesn't hold the deer there. I'm catching them coming through during the rut. Mm-hmm. So it's very timely mannered. A lot of times I've noticed all the really, really big deer that I want to kill on the public land, they come through right around November. They're there for a few days, and then they're gone. They come into the doe groups.
That's tough to hunt.
It is. It's really tough, and it's like, how can I go check all these cameras when I've got these other deer that are on private that are daylighting, so it's like, a bird in the hand or a bird in the bush? What am I going to do here? And I'm not against just throwing a Hail Mary and going into a good piece that I know. I'll do that all the time. But I feel like the public deer, some of them have been really difficult to get on and get pictures of. Mm-hmm. But I would have to say the private land deer have been way more tricky to kill than the public land deer I've pursued.
I can see that.
Yeah. And people curse me for saying that, but it's my honest opinion. I mean, it's just how it's been for me.
There's a big difference in 50 acres of private and 1,000 acres of private.
Yeah, there's been tons of times on private land where I know where I can go kill a deer and I just can't do it because I don't want to trespass. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah, I talked about this in the last podcast with Andy. Is like, you know, we're both on the same page as far as like baiting. I don't want to kill a deer over bait.
Yeah.
If you told me I was going to go out and put a corn pile out and kill a 200, I'm going to be at Rural King in 5 minutes. Okay? That's just bottom line. It's not my ideal way to kill a deer, but it is the ideal way to find deer on private land here in Kentucky and at least get an idea of what you have. They become so if you've got a set amount of acres that you're hunting and the deer are unpressured and you're able to leave them unpressured until it's time to go in and kill, it's fine. But if you get antsy, you want to get a lot of pictures, you start putting out corn. That stuff didn't just fall from the sky.
Yeah.
They know. You're in there dumping it. You're being intrusive. They're getting more conditioned to you. They become harder to kill.
Yeah.
Period. And I know there's a lot of people, especially in Ohio. There's a couple guys I've got off the top of my head. It's like if you took their corn away, they wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know how to find a deer. They wouldn't know how to hunt a deer. But they're strategic in how they do it, and they're good at it. Mm-hmm. You know, they may not be hunting right over that corn pile. What is that outfitter they got nailed a while back? Whitetail Heaven or something like that?
Probably the big one around here.
Yeah, they were actually setting up their clients to where they were putting bait piles out and trying to get an idea of where these big mature deer were J-hooking into the corn pile and checking it from downwind before they get there, and they're shooting them on the swing. Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, but take that stuff away and things get drastically harder.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I'm really looking forward to in Iowa, is just having a level playing field of,
I like that.
You know, having the opportunity to not have to have that in the back of my mind. Like, is the neighbor baiting down here? And you obviously, they are. And it's like, why am I not seeing that deer? What's going on here? And honestly, in my opinion, I would much rather hunt the public, because if I see a good deer and I see what he's doing, then I can kill him. Like, I've got a good idea. He came from here. Here's a bedding area. Mm-hmm. All right, connect the dots and go after him. And I pigeonhole myself every year hunting private, because I'm like, all right, well, he came out of here, but I can't go in the woods and hunt him. Like, I've got all these fields to hunt, but I don't have a ton of hardwoods to hunt. Yep. And I hate sitting over on field edges, but I'm kind of forced to in some scenarios. And, like, I've definitely put myself in bad scenarios with that logic.
We grew up in the generation of watching VHSs, if you know what that is, and DVDs of these guys that are hunting over field edges with cut corn and standing corn, and the big buck walks right down it, and they plug him at 20 yards with a bow.
Yeah.
So that's so unrealistic. Like, it does not happen a lot for guys like me and you. It takes a lot of unpressured deer. It takes premier property. It takes being on the same terms with landowners, if you're leasing it, of leaving some stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Deer just don't do the open ground thing very often. It takes cold weather,
the right time of year.
Yeah. Or it takes a doe that's right.
Yeah, one of my biggest bucks, that I killed here in Kentucky was, I moved a camera right into a doe bedding area that I knew about from the year prior, and 3 days later, dude, giant. Never seen him before. The wide 10 I killed. Mm-hmm. Shows up right on the tail of a doe. Went in there that evening, killed him. Like, sweet. And I'm not going to act like that was anything difficult. That was a cell camera killed that deer. Right. I had my wits about me. I wanted to kill him with a bow, but it was the last day of muzzleloader, the late muzzleloader. Yeah. And I was like, well, here's the wind. If I get close to him at all, I know the does are going to come out and bust me. So I hung back, and I felt accomplished. It wasn't like.
For sure. And also another thing I said with Andy is, like, you take into account of these handicaps that we use, and it doesn't degrade, but it makes me feel like so tangent here. I had a guy message me and comment on a YouTube video of my big velvet deer from Tennessee. Yeah. He's like, I have trail camera pictures of that deer.
Really?
Well, this is 3 years almost later, And he's just now coming out of the woodwork and saying this. And I get to talk to him today, and it's like, yeah, I mean, he's my biggest deer, and he come at the most crucial time in my life when my granddad passed, and I needed something to build me up. Mm-hmm. And I shot him with a rifle, early season, August. There's 20-something guys going down there and doing this hunt. And not everybody's shooting something. Matter of fact, nobody's shooting anything.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not easy,
no.
but it looks like it's easy. And I was telling that guy today, it's like, I shot him with a rifle. I don't feel as crazy about him as I did when I first shot him. And it's like, it was more of when I killed the deer versus how I killed the deer.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's like, I think to like some of the hunts where it was super easy and I did use advantages here and there. And it's like, those deer just they don't do it like they should.
They're not quite as special to me. And I went through a really rough season that year. I mean, I chased the biggest deer of my life, maybe the biggest deer I'll ever chase. And, he got killed, and I had to start from ground zero.
Oh, I remember that deer.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was like gross, almost 240. And, yeah, it's crazy to say. But yeah, so like, and I killed him, I think it was December 10th or something like that, and it was a godsend. I remember me and my wife pulled out of church, and I got a cell cam notification, and I was like, oh, my God. And I was like, honey, I'm not going to Santa Claus. I'm not going to go see Santa with you today. I'm sorry. And she's like, no, you go kill that deer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I got to share that with the kids. That was a really special. And that, you know what, like, you got to look at things like that, man. Obviously, yeah, there was luck, just like for you when you killed that deer. But, I feel like, not to make it religious, but like God has a time for everything. And,
absolutely.
If you put in the effort, eventually you're going to reap a reward.
Well, just because you got a picture of that deer doesn't mean you're going to kill him.
No.
It ain't like in Kansas and Iowa where these isolated pockets, like where a deer walks in and he doesn't leave.
Yeah, you're like,
he's in there. Mm-hmm. It ain't like that around here. And, I love Moltry. I work with Moltry closely. They become a partner of mine that I thoroughly enjoy. I like the guys behind it. But there is this, like, looming feeling of, like, cell cams could be taken away any day.
Yeah.
And I've got a guy that's coming on the podcast here pretty soon, hopefully, and we're going to have a discussion. He's very anti-cell camera, and that's fine. That's his opinion. And I think there's a middle ground to be found. But, like, my thing on it is I love my cell cameras. They keep me out of the woods. I'm not disturbing the deer. I don't have to worry about, walking in there to pull the card. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I could totally abuse it. Mm-hmm. Like I could. Or I could try. Like most of them are like 2 hours away from here. Like I couldn't get there to kill that deer if I wanted.
Yeah.
I wish, and it would be no problem. I promise you. Of all the updates and stuff they could do, they could change across the board. Moltry, Tacticam, Stealth Cam, however many other cams I'm forgetting. Make a software to where they transmit photos one time a day.
Yeah.
Period. And it could either be 12, in the afternoon or 12 at night or something like that. I think that's fair.
I did that for a long time, actually. I had a hunch that they were sensing the trigger, or maybe when it was sending me the picture.
Yeah.
And I noticed a big decline in deer picking out my camera. And I would send them to me like twice a day, like 8 in the morning and 8 in the evening or whatever, just to see what was going on. So
it's very, very possible, man.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. I know Cody has said that a lot. Cody DeQuisto's been huge on not using them, and I was like, you can't take somebody with your skill level and act like you using those is totally different than me using them. I'm not gonna act like I'm, super hunter. I'm a normal dude, just like anybody else out there, and I've got a normal job. I can't be 12 places at one time, and I don't have time to check cameras all the time. So it is what it is, you know.
Well, I'm willing to take the criticism on them because I love them, and they're such a big help. And the battery saving aspect of it, it's like the new Edge 2 Pro cameras have got that AI on board. It's not sending it to a server and trying to recognize what it has in the picture. I mean, it is recognizing in that photo this thing has antlers.
Yeah,
I'm going to send that to the sky.
Okay, that's wild.
So it's saving battery by not sending you raccoons on a bait pile if you're using that. It's not triggering from the wind, which, by the way, if you set it to where it detects everything, you want it to detect everything. There's even a feature on it. You can go in and click the squares where a branch is blowing and make it stop, that area stop triggering the camera.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? It's like there's so many great battery-saving options about it. God dang, batteries are expensive nowadays. My God, it's insane.
You ain't kidding.
If I'd have known what lithiums were going to do,
yeah,
I'd have freaking bought 3,000 of them years ago.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Time to start stocking up on them, actually, now that you mention it.
It is time.
Yeah.
Every time I go to Walmart, she sends me to buy groceries. A little pro tip for you guys: listen to me. If your wife sends you to Walmart or wherever to buy groceries, throw the damn receipt away when you're done. If it $100 versus $120, not a big deal. Go buy you a 36 pack of Energizers, okay, and just start stockpiling them.
I've been saving a lot of money. I've been getting them from Home Depot. Them HDX batteries.
Bro.
They're great.
You can get the Energizers
I
from
don't
Home
notice
Depot
the
too.
difference.
Yep.
Well, I know they're a lot cheaper, so I started buying batteries in bulk like that. I mean, I run maybe 15 to 20 cameras. I mean, I know there's guys out there that think that's crazy. There's guys that run way more than that.
Yep.
So,
yep. Start stockpiling them.
I'm a happy medium, I feel like.
It's about time to start putting some cameras out, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really, 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 really excited. Man, do you got one last little topic here?
Yeah.
You got any tips for the guys on gaining a little bit of hunting time from the old lady?
Yeah.
Just something you do or don't?
Something I need to work on.
Okay. Let's hear that.
No, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm very lucky. My wife is super chill. I just really try to be present, and I know you've probably heard that from a lot of your guests. But being present, there's a time where you just got to set time that you're there and you're fully there. Mm-hmm. We have normal jobs. I like to try to leave my job behind when I come in the front door.
Yes.
It is their time. I try to do as much as I can to help her with the kids. I make dinner a lot. I wear I wear a lot of different hats. A lot of times I'll make dinner. I try to help her with this. I can't fold laundry because she'll cut me. She don't like me folding clothes,
That's good.
which is great.
That's
great. Yeah, pro tip. Try to fold clothes really messed up.
Always do it wrong.
When she asks you.
Always do it wrong.
And no, man, I think it's the most important thing. And I wish that I could spend more time with my old lady doing dates and stuff. That's one thing that's really unfortunate. She's super weird about who watches our kids.
I understand.
We don't have a ton of friends.
God, I understand that.
Most of my friends are young single dudes. So
hey, dude.
It's kind of, yeah.
Bring a 12-pack, watch my kids, keep them alive.
We did that one time. My friend and his girlfriend watched their kids. But, that's one thing, man. Like, set that time, be there for her, help her out. The more you kind of, and then, another huge thing, and I've heard you mention this before somewhere else, I don't know where, but setting up and not hunting those, like hunting high odds days.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, there's a cold front coming in. Is there anything you need help with in the next couple of days before this hits? Because I want to hunt these 2 days for sure.
Yes.
Don't count me in for anything. I'm lucky she doesn't have a ton of plans, but that's huge, man. Like,
well, people need to sit down and think about, and we've killed a lot of really nice deer. We've sat a lot of times and ain't seen nothing too.
Tons.
And think about how many of those times you knew going out there, it's probably a waste of time.
Yeah.
Those days are gone from me.
Yeah, and it's already in your head. You're like, setting those days, and you're like, in early season especially, it's like, if you don't have something dead to right, man,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's almost better, I've heard this from other guys, go take that time and scout for 2 hours instead of hunting that whole time. I mean, we're just sitting there fiddling on our phones a lot of times when there's nothing out there in the field. Like, I don't know. I think if you got a happy wife at home, you're going to be able to spend a lot more time in the woods. Yeah. If you're out there burning up days that aren't important and you're not on stuff, like, you're wasting your time.
Yep.
So
that is very, 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 very true, man. I'll hunt extremely hard I'll go to Tennessee. I'll do the velvet hunt every single year. It's kind of a 3-day ordeal. Then I'm done for basically 12 to 14 days. Kentucky will come back in. I'll hunt 3 days again really hard. Saturday, Sunday, and what is it? Memorial or no, it's not Memorial Day. Labor Day. So she'll be off work.
Yeah.
Or whatever that Monday is, we're off of work too. So it's not like I'm losing funds anyway. So I'll hunt those 3 days trying to knock down a velvet buck. And at that point, I pull the reins back. I start looking for a 70, 69 degree day coming up. Might get out and try to hunt that day, knock down a doe, get some meat in the freezer. And at that point, man, I'm really pulling the reins back, and I'm waiting until they start opening scrapes and things like that. Yeah. And they're starting to show you where they're at, because let's be honest, you've been in here in Kentucky for 5, 6, whatever years now. You know damn well you can prep, you can run cameras, you can scout, you can glass, you can do all this stuff. It's only good for the first 4 or 5 days, and then it's out the window. Yeah. Everything that you thought you knew about that deer, he's gone. He's either dead, he's gone, he's been pushed by people, He's shifting over to a different food source. He's different.
Yeah.
His velvet's gone, testosterone rises, and
May
it's
as well
different.
give him some time. Let him sit. I mean, I have had deer that shifted in around that time, and that's been great to like get on them. But no, I'm just way too picky. I feel like that's been my biggest flaw here in Kentucky is not just sending it on a couple of these deer that I should have.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, I know you don't. I'm crazy, but you live and you learn, man. That's part of this whole game is just figuring it out. And I feel like, how old are you, Jacob?
34.
Okay, I'm 35, so we're really similar
Jesus
in
Christ,
that.
you're old.
Yeah, I know. I think you got a little more gray than me.
I got a lot
buddy.
more gray.
Yeah.
I got one more kid than you too, though. That's why.
But yeah, I mean, I think that just comes with time in the woods, right? You kind of get that feel for when you should be out there and when you shouldn't. And yeah, here in Kentucky especially, I've learned like that first week of season is magical, and then it just progressively it tapers off until it heats back up.
That's right. That's when all the non-residents show up for 3 days to pressure all the deer and scare them off, and then they're gone.
Yeah,
they're gone.
I'm not going to miss that.
Come on back in November and do it again.
Exactly.
Justin, it's been a good little hour and 8 minutes so far, dude.
Yeah,
I appreciate you swinging by. It looks like we're going to be able to get out of here a little bit drier.
I'm a little wet just sitting here sweating. So.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me, buddy.
Dude,
honestly, thank you so much.
Yeah, you need to drop where people can go listen to yours.
Yeah, check us out. We're on Spotify, Apple. I got a YouTube Run and Gun podcast. Check us out. We do a lot of mobile hunting content. I'm sure a lot of your listeners are all mobile hunters
for the most part.
So yeah, man, we try to do a no BS approach, and I try to have guys that are doing the thing, and yeah, just try to keep it real and keep it relative.
You won't have guys on his podcast that are killing 1 or 2 good deer and now become social media heroes. These are guys that get it done every single year.
I've had conversations with guys that are big baiting enthusiasts, and I just hate to say it that way, but it's like, hey, that's just not what we do. So
yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, be sure and go over to Apple Podcasts and leave me a 5-star written review. It really helps, along with a 5-star review there on Spotify. If you have not had a chance, go check out some of the video podcasts that I'm dropping on YouTube, and be sure to check those out. You can subscribe both to the YouTube and to the podcast. I really have a hard time ending these things.
It's tough, ain't it?
It is tough.
Yeah, you kind of.
Anyways, we're going to get the hell out of this hot building. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you back next Wednesday.